keep talking about tearing down all the barriers that stand in the way of Americans fulfilling their potential, because I don't think our country can live up to its potential unless we give a chance to every single American to live up to theirs.
Hillary Clinton is a seasoned political animal. She has unique insight into what can and will work when it comes to getting elected, or so it would seem. Because the woman who flamed out in stunning fashion against Barack Obama may have reached the end of a very long rope in her new puff piece in Vogue magazine, where she in essence blames America, all of us, all of you, for not providing her a POTUS coronation yet, and maybe never. Reason being, we're all just afraid of having a woman in the office, and we're all a bunch of sexists. All right, all is right with the world every time we dive into the pool containing the political animal. Welcome back the veteran Republican strategist who has recorded plenty of high marks diving from this board in recent weeks, Ford O'Connell, balanced by veteran Democratic strategist who seeks to have the height of the board raised every time he fears no challenge, Brad Bannon. Gentlemen, let's get right to it. Hey, Brad, you first up on the left side. This Vogue magazine article right now, Hillary Clinton's basically saying, you don't want a woman in an executive position, especially in New York City or the United States of America. Come on, Brad. She's playing this woman card again, and it's not going to work.
Well, first of all, I think she is overstating the problem. But I'm absolutely convinced many Americans still in this day and age have problems with a female president. I think there is sex discrimination in the political arena. You know, Hillary Clinton gets comments on her clothes, on her hairstyles, and you never see that happen with any of the male candidates.
Wait a minute. That's not fair. No. Come on. Marco Rubio with his shoes already got hit on earlier this year. We've had Donald Trump's hair being taken to task here. Come on, Brad. Let's be fair. This is the wrong card for her to play. Yes? Come on.
Oh, yeah, I don't think she should be playing it because it's pretty obvious he's a woman. And I think I haven't read the article, but she overstates the problem. But I do believe there is sexism in the way.
But we're in politics right now. We're not on Madison Avenue, and we're not in the boardroom. Here's the deal. The woman card, the female card, is used up for Hillary Clinton because Bernie Sanders has closed the gap in the latest Quinnipiac national poll. So now she's soon going to have to leave the female card and start playing the African-American card. And if she isn't able to do that, guess what? Somebody else is going to be the nominee, and they're never going to be Bernie Sanders.
As I said on social media just yesterday, I said, Mrs. Clinton, it's not the fact that America doesn't want a female president. They just don't want you as the president, which maybe she has to start learning rather quickly here. All right, I'm going to stay with you, Ford. An NBC News Wall Street Journal poll has Ted Cruz overtaking Donald Trump's top spot, 28-26. Trump came out, said, this is a Rupert Murdoch-controlled Wall Street Journal. He's not a big fan of the Journal. He says it's phony and it's nothing more than a Rupert Murdoch hit. Now, wait a minute. There has been a point here about Murdoch and Fox coming out against Trump before, so is it not possible he's got this one right, at least a little?
I don't think Trump has. I don't think that Trump's got this one right, but I will say this. I don't think that Ted Cruz is leading either. I think the sample size in that poll is a little skewed towards very conservative voters, which favors Ted Cruz. Look, we don't have enough data to really decide this. I think this is one blip on the radar. If we get 2 or 3 of these, or Donald Trump starts losing primaries, then we can have this discussion.
Brad, don't we have to also go to our JD? I'm sorry. Don't we all? Brad, I'm sorry. I got Brad, JD. I got everybody on the mind here today. So sorry about that. That's what happens when you get old. Brad, and I wanted to say Brad because another friend of ours, Bradley Blakeman, who is a Republican strategist, sent us an email and he said, wait a minute, at this point, I don't think any of the polls are reliable. Brad, isn't that just, don't we have to take it for that? We see poll after poll after poll. They're just not reliable because of the sampling services and where they're taken.
Well, first of all, to answer your question about the Wall Street Journal, 3 months ago, the Wall Street Journal poll, which supposedly is hostile to Donald Trump, showed him with a 30-point lead over Ted Cruz. So it doesn't sound like there was any bias then. In terms of the other issue, I think, Trump has, major problems. I think people are beginning to question him. I think he was a novelty for many Republican voters a few months ago, but I think the novelty has worn off.
But then why does he have a 19-point lead, though, in the
Bloomberg
poll? Because there's part of it. Hang on one sec, Ford, just to get into what you're talking about here. He's got a 19-point lead in the Bloomberg poll. I mean, that's got to tell us that there's still people who believe in this guy.
It's difficult to poll in primaries. That's correct. It is a lot easier to poll and more accurate to poll in a general election than a primary. And the reason is It is very hard to determine in a primary who is actually going to vote in a primary or attend a caucus. And that's why you see so much polling information. And, you're right. A national poll doesn't mean anything because we don't have a national primary.
Go ahead, JD. 20 seconds to you.
I have to fully agree with Brad on this point that basically all that matters is primary and caucus polls, and there's nothing for me to think that Trump isn't going to win. The question is, does the field get down to 2 or 3 candidates? If not, he's probably going to skate to the Republican nomination with a plurality of voters.
All right, Ford, I got about 30 seconds left here. I'm going to ask both of you this. You give me 15 seconds on this. Jeb Bush mocking all the media criticism, saying, quote, I should stop campaigning maybe. Come on, he was just making a joke, but everybody's making a big deal about this. Is it maybe prescient?
Well, I think eventually Jeb Bush is going to actually wind up having to leave this race. The only question is when. Chances are if Marco Rubio comes in second in South Carolina and in Nevada, he's out.
All right, now I got to ask you real quick on this one, Brad. Who do you think will finish second is the big thing here. 15 seconds.
I think Ted Cruz will finish second. I think there's one thing Americans agree on. Democrats, Republicans, and independents, no one wants a third Bush presidency.
And I think that's where we're going. Brad Bannon, Ford O'Connell. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. We will talk again very soon. Let's remind you, too, very soon comes that South Carolina primary. And you can see it all right here on Newsmax. This Saturday, February the 20th, join us for the South Carolina primary. We begin at 6:30 Eastern Time. Make sure you join us. Everything gets cooking right around 7 o'clock Eastern Time, but we will be here. Hey, it once was a casual stroll in your car. Now it's a greater potential for a death trap. Something a new president better be prepped to get involved in. The Car Coach is next, and we continue right here on the fastest 60 minutes of news, The Hard Line.